Peace. Welcome to the Real HD Show, the higher discussion. This is the repository to tell our story and our narrative in our way for all the guts, fame, and the glory so we can live on and our kids can stand strong. Let's go. Hey, welcome to the Real HD Show. I'm your host, Vic. You have caught another Monday. You know what I mean? That one day where you could jump in on the Real HD Show. This is your safe space, your safe place to drop your ace on all things good, the bad, and the ugly of our people. And we got a little bit of everything in that as far as all of that's concerned tonight. Invited some folk. We should have a lively panel if they all decide to come through. I hope so, but that's not going to change what we do because still going to give you that awareness so you could be fearless. We are the Real HD Show. But before we move on, first, what we want to do is like, share, and subscribe, comment, and turn your notifications on. So every time the Real HD Show comes on, you can be notified and you can be with us, rock with us, mess with us, do everything we got to do right here on the Real HD Show. And I'm taking the advice of one of the listeners and I'm shortening up the advertisements. They're still going to be potent. They're still going to be plenty. We're just going to have them throughout the show and for different rhymes and different reasons. So first of all, boom, bring 5 people to the Real HD Show or any of the Real HD Show network shows, and you will get this voucher right here: 4 nights at a luxury hotel and any place in these continental United States. You could have a midwinter vacation value of $1,000 or more, 4 nights, 5 days. Bring 5 people or more. Have them all, hit the QR code and let them know that, it was on your behalf that you brought them to the Real HD Show, and you are good to go. We will hook you up, courtesy of the Real HD Show, and redeem vacations. And also, the Real HD Show has a fundraiser that we're doing. We've been on 3 years now, going on 4, and we're trying to get a sync license. Now, what a sync license does is it allows us to play music. It allows us to play all types of videos. And, we have a really wide ranging multimedia platform. If you enjoy what we do, please Cash App $ the Real HD Show. We like them twos and fews, but we rather have the big ones that we can slide or we can really put the work for us, the 50s, the hundreds, and beyond. So please help us out. Help us to bring all of these unique shows to you throughout the year. We are working diligently to do these things. We are working diligently to be a full entertainment, news, and awareness-based channel for you. We have all these things happening: a cannabis show, a sneaker show, a video music show, a shopping show, a football, a sports show, a relationship-based show, a music show, a teen-based show, and of course, the Real HD Show. We even have a pets-based show. So we are here for all that, and we are also here for this tonight: Pride, Prejudice, and Politics, right here on the Real HD Show. Those are all the different topics that we will be hitting for the evening. Come through. We would love to have you. It's the Real HD Show. We can't have a higher discussion without your participation. We are blasting off to many, many Facebook channels. We want to thank everybody that's joining and that has joined. We got a couple people already in here. Share this link below, StreamYard.com, 7WE 7MWE3F2QC, or share where you're listening and where you're viewing, because we are also on WXIR, 100.9 FM in Rock, New York. So let us know how you're going to do that. Share, share, share. Let's get ready. Let's rock out. So you know what we do first. We go ahead and we do our elders and ancestors blueprint. Why? Because we can get a lot of our problems solved, and a lot of the blueprint, a lot of the ideas, a lot of the engineering that we need to solve our problems, our ancestors already dealt with it. Why? Because there's nothing new under these suns. So let's get right into our first topic of or video of the night in the ancestors elders blueprint. There's only one, and we're gonna tackle it right now. Give me 1 second to pull it up, family. Sometimes these things are hard to locate. Let's go at 129. Desktop show. Give me 1 second, family. Let me pull this up, and we will be good to go. Okay, here we go. Pardon the wait. Here we go. This brother's not an ancestor or an elder, but he gives some insightful commentary that I think our people could gain a lot from. 107 USC 106, fair use, fair use. Videos used for educational purposes only. We do not earn a dime from this. This is none other than Dave Chappelle giving us some wisdom on the Real HD Show. Check it out.
So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, "They are trying to kill me"? What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take clothes off on TRL? So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy is dismissive. I don't understand this person. So they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
That was part of our elders and ancestors blueprint. And the reason I picked it was sometimes, Dave Chappelle gives this energy like he's an elder, like he'd been here before, and he can kind of read the forest before the trees. He can read the tea leaves. He can read the bones. And he gives a lot of practical, sage-like advice. Not to mention the man funny as hell. You know what I'm saying? Put it in the chat if you enjoyed Dave Chappelle. Put it in the chat what you thought of his narrative right there. That wasn't funny. That was very serious and very insightful. And so many of us have these, lucid dreams of getting to a large, big stage and being adored by millions, getting to the bag, getting the money. And we not really sure what we're taking on within that journey, what that journey requires us to do. What are the compromises? Are we going to have to compromise our dignity? Are we going to have to compromise who we are? And if you do get an outlier, someone who's willing to speak up, despite the negatives, despite the risks, are we going to call these people crazy? Are we going to call these people off their rocker? Are we going to support them and try to do the best we can for them? Because we know that if the situation wasn't urgent, if the situation didn't have a feel of necessity, I don't think they'd be even speaking up. I think they would reserve what they had to say for private company. But they know these things get way out of hand, way out of whack, way out of the realm of decency and normalcy. So they speak up. And it's nothing like when our folks speak up, because we've seen way too many examples of the folks who are willing to go along to get along, go along to get along for the bag, go along to get along for positionality, wound up becoming gatekeepers. That's what the Cat Williams of the world, I think, was alluding to, along with others. Well, this sort of narrative that Dave Chappelle just laid out for us is nothing without your response. So put it in the chat in all of the areas that we're at. We got 5 Facebook shows. We got YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, IG, Trovo Nation, Mob Crush, D Live. We are everywhere on the Real HD Show. And how do you like your truth? Whether it be about Hollywood or anything else, would you take your truth from a bum on the street, or do you prefer it in a dude with a suit and a jacket on? And is the dude with the suit and jacket always the one telling the truth? Or can you get truth where you can get it and take truth where you can take it? Let us know. Let us know if Dave Chappelle was right. Put it in the chat. I'll put it on the screen. There's where you want to be if you want to join us. You know what I'm saying? It's right there. 7MWE 3F2T 2Q2C. One more time. 7MWE 3F2Q2C. Now let's jump right into another section of the show that we always go to, the AAT report, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wiser, for a brand new you, because we need cell power. And as always, let's cue the music.
Here's a fruit that you might not know. Is it a grapefruit? Oh no. Is it a big orange? No, also. This fruit is called pomelo. Pomelo? Yes, pomelo. You want to hear?
107 USC 106, fair use. Videos used for educational purposes only. Thank you, Maccabee, and your family for letting us use this content. Here we go.
Hear about it? Here we go. At the first time I wanna see it. Tell the truth. This is an original fruit. They say from this came the grapefruit. So let's introduce. Got a lot of nutrients. Let me see. Very, very high in vitamin C. One pomelo has got plenty, over 400% of your DV. That's your daily value recommendation. So one could last you 4 days long. It also got some potassium, which could help your blood pressure come down. Got fiber, without question, which is very helpful for digestion. Water, good for hydration. Offers a leap of protection, antioxidants, vitamins, mineral, anti-aging, could help with cholesterol, antibacterial, antifungal. Even the peel is very useful. Yes, it's the biggest of the citrus, contains many things that are good for us for your health, could be advantageous. Plant-based food is a must. A Medical Monday. Yes, sire.
So we're back, Real HD Show. That was Maccabee out of the NYC. That brother's really dope. Please support him. Go to his channel, mob his format, make him rich, because he is doing great things for us. He has got great things popping. Pomelo, what is you guys' relationship with it? It's like one of the older grapefruit choices. I know it super ionizes the water when you put it in there. So if you got some room temperature water, and it tastes great. So it's of the grapefruit citrus family. like your your blood oranges and your grapefruits and your lemons and so forth, your kiwis, but you always want to that one is indicative native to a lot of the Caribbean isles. So you can go to some of those shops and see if you find it. Very good for the digestion, very good for the respiratory system because it clears mucus. All those good things are heavy with the pomelo. Let us know if you have a relationship with it. Have you used it? Do you like it? Is it sour, more sour than grapefruit? Does it taste better than grapefruit? Is it called grapefruit where you come from? Is it the equivalent? Let us know. We can't have a higher discussion without you on the Real HD show. So that was part of our AAT report. Healthy, wealthy, and wiser for a brand new you, because we always need that cell power. All right, here we go. Next is something I want to get into because I was listening to Real Nagas. Go support Real Nagas channel. Kevin Barringer, real dope brother, real knowledgeable brother. Go check out his channel. He's dropping it heavy. He's got videos. He's got things for you to buy. He's got all kinds of stuff that's so good for you from a melanated person's perspective globally. He got history, he got currency, he's got a police stop law package that's real heavy. He's got flashcards, he's got some really dope stuff. But what I was listening to from him was a conversation about melanin during his show. And one of the things that were brought up was that oil is a hydrocarbon, crude oil. That's what they label it. That's the other name for melanin. Not melanin, but let me reset. Oil is a hydrocarbon, right? Hydrogen and many carbons around it that make up the carbon chain. I'm getting into my chemistry here. And of course, a lot of alcohols that create the bond that winds up being what crude oil is made up of. But you know what also is akin or aligns with crude oil or is made up of the very same thing as melanin. Melanin is a hydrocarbon, the very same thing, not the very same formula. So if you wrote it out like C4 C4H, what is it? C4H6 O12. Nah, it wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't have the exact same numbers following the carbon and hydrogen chain that is involved in it. But if you could break it down to its very simple compounds, you would see that hydrocarbons exist in melanin the same way that hydrocarbons exist in oil. Now, oil, especially crude oil, is one of the planet's largest commodities. At the start of the Ukraine war, the pipeline was blown up that transferred oil through Russia and Ukraine to different parts of Europe. And that was done to, micromanage the transaction of oil and to leave it in the hands of either Russian, Ukrainian, or American interests, which were kind of the major players of that particular time period. And the millions and millions, billions of dollars that pipeline was responsible for still hurts places like Germany, the Austrian nations, East Europe. They're over there right now paying a heavy toll and a heavy tax on crude oil. And we know crude oil as a hydrocarbon powers everything. Our homes, how we the boilers in our homes, the furnaces in our homes, cars, when they break it down, the petroleum and all those ways that we power vehicles, many different ways. But melanin is just as expensive and valuable as a world commodity. And it's no different than the skin that you are living in. And what was interesting about the conversation that we were having that I wanted to bring to you guys and find out how you feel. Peace, lights, peace, Godspeed. What's going on with you, bro? Melanin has many, many uses. So if you go back into one of our shows, you'll find out that we did an expose back when I was at the radio station. We did an expose on melanin, that the military was using melanin to line their weapons, to line their bullets, to line their shields, to line their bulletproof vests, because melanin has those properties that can mesh and make that weaponry very, very powerful. Um, and then the scientific community has what's called, and let me pull it up right here really quick. The International Federation of Pigment Cell Society. And every couple of years, they have a big conference, and melanated people aren't allowed to be a part of it. And it's all about the science of melanin. It's all about how they're going to use it, what creations they've come up with it, how they're going to make it plentiful. And our people, whether we're on a continent, in the diaspora, or in America, are not allowed to be a part of it. How about it? Or the people in India, if you want to consider them a part of the diaspora as well. They're not. So you're talking about the most heavily melanated groups across the planet are not allowed to attend this International Society conference on pigment that happens every couple of years. So we're not in the forefront of what melanin is going to be used for in as the rest of the 21st century develops. And that's kind of sad. And we often wonder why so many of our folk wind up missing. Like they discovered those 39 kids in we think it's child trafficking for sex. A big part of it is, but a big part of it is also the commodity of melanin, and how much melanin is worth, how much melanin um it's over $500 on the stock exchange, and they don't call it melanin. They give it like a long like identification number, and it's a lot of consonants, a lot of numbers. I had it in one write-up that I had. I don't have it right now, but you can go look it up yourself, what it's called on the stock market, worth about 500, maybe even $600 a gram right now. And what they said was melanin can be had in many, many ways. Like melanin from other groups aren't all the same. Other groups have deeper concentrations of melanin. Um, and it made me think about this cat right here. And the elephant and the melanin elephant in the room. As I was watching the Luke Cage series, it broke the internet. New York based superhero out of Harlem, Brooklyn, respected, loved, couldn't wait. Folks like Black Panther. Folks couldn't wait to see the new representation of Luke Cage, which was the old school Power Man. If anybody read comics, if you're a comics reader, jump in here with us, man, and let us know what you think about melanin and as it related to Luke Cage. Now, they never hinted on melanin in the Luke Cage series, but obviously, if his superpowers were, and they said he was a mutant, they just said it took that experiment. They were experimenting with him. And then eventually, that mutant power of his impenetrable strength, skill, speed, all of that type of stuff came out once they experimented on him when he was locked up. Of course, he was locked up for, you know, a crime he didn't commit or things that got beyond his control. And he was at some prison in, I believe it was like South Carolina or something like that. They gave it some crazy name. But then I started doing some research, and I found that melanin, as you know, I wanted to know what was the future of melanin, or what's melanin news, what's happening right now, right? And it's probably nothing that our ancestors haven't already known, but of course, without our connection to them directly, when I'm talking about our ancient ancestors, we don't know how they were able to harness melanin. So I came across this article here, and it's in Northwestern now. And this is out of Northwestern University, probably one of the bigger like research institutions. They have a very big law school. They're, a pretty big, reputable, situation. And I came across this title called Super Melanin. And I was like, Super Melanin? Sounds like this, right? Sounds like Luke Cage. So I was like, what the hell is super melanin? And they're saying it's the synthetic cream that protects skin from sun damage. Now we know whose folks is always complaining about them. Hey, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Hey, bro, get in here, man. Jump in this joint, man. Let's chop it up real quick if you got some time. I'm gonna put the banner back up. Yeah, that's the link right there. 7MWE 3F2Q2C. Jump in here, bro. Let's chop it up. So I'm talking about Godspeed. Godspeed's a supporter of the show. I appreciate that, brother. Whenever he can get on, he always got a strong opinion, and that's what it's about. It's about having a strong opinion and having a higher discussion. So super melanin heals injuries from sunburn and chemical burns. Now, isn't that exactly the fictional thing that they said that Luke Cage was really good at, right? That was one of his superpowers. He could stop bullets, he could be hit by lightning. Nothing stops. His skin is impenetrable. I think there's only a couple things that could happen to him that would lay him flat, but it would have to be like it would just like knock him out. It wouldn't like kill him. Like he can't die, that sort of thing, and except from old age. So I thought that was really interesting that there's a term out there called super melanin from Northwestern Now. And I'm going to pull this up and read a little byline of it really quick. If I can get it up quickly, I got it. Cool. Bear with me, family. This is going to be worth it. All right, here we go. So it's a super melanin heals. You know what? I'm going to share my screen because there's a little video that goes with this. So I'll take this down and I will share screen. Boom, boom, boom. All right, here we go. Let me see if you can see that. Yes, you can. All right, here we go. Real HD show. Super melanin heals. Here we go.
But it's a myriad of environmental insults into the skin. You can think about this as chemical pollutants, toxic chemicals, for example, and accidental exposure. We are all familiar with what melanin is. It's in our skin. It protects our skin. What we just managed to do was make it and harness it into a more optimized version.
And so if you like, it's sort of handed to us on a platter. Why would we not go and use it in the skin?
Turns out it protects the skin, but it also repairs the skin. And it does this in a variety of ways.
It's almost indistinguishable from the natural melanin that's already in people's skin, which clearly is not toxic.
With this intervention with the topical melanins, the scab fell off and the skin is fully healed within a week, and there's new skin underneath. There is local protection, but there's also communication with something much deeper, our immune system, to really repair the damaged tissue.
We've re-imbued the skin with the ability to heal. With such a relatively simple concept can continue to be advanced. If we can impact people's lives with something like that, I mean, that's an excellent outcome.
All right, we're back. Real HD show. And we were talking about this right here. Super melanin, as they want to call it. Now, why are they calling it super melanin? Well, for those who don't have deep concentrations, like most melanated people from, most of the world, those who have low concentrations of it would, of course, think it's super, right? But they love our style and they love our culture and they love our ability to do what we do. So now you got the Great Reset at hand. And of course, the Great Reset is making them imagine and making them engineer some really, really interesting stuff. So here it is. The guy said that if you have a skin ailment and you put this new super melanin on your skin, and the old skin as a scab will fade away, and the new skin will be there healed and um, you know, replenished, renewed. And I'm like, whoa, you know, that's groundbreaking stuff, especially for people who had like who got burnt from fires and who suffer from AIDS because they got those big AIDS pox on their body and all type of stuff. You know what I mean? But then I kept, and then of course it's in line with this here, right? Right, and that was a fiction back in the '60s when they created Power Man in the comics, and now not so much, right? So they're not, but so we know that melanin is a hydrocarbon, and we also know melanin is super aromatic, right? So that means it can be shared through the air. So this is the reason why they say it's hyperconductive, right? And it's aromatic, and it's also a hydrocarbon. So that means people who are dense in carbon, melanated folk, are going to be those who, you know, really take advantage of that. You know what I mean? They're going to really, and then you ask yourself, oh man, how did Kobe do that 360 reverse dunk from the foul line? How did that happen? You know what I'm saying? This is melanin. We're a tuning, and melanin is like a tuning fork. So once you tap into that 369 frequency that the body is so like, you know, steeped in the DNA, and then you're able to tap into the wonderful gifts that melanin can help you. But these scientists, because of the great replacement theory and other crazy things that they think about, have found ways to use melanin in other ways. So I showed you that melanin can heal wounds, and now they have hey Jazz, what's going on? Peace, Jazz, what's going
Peace.
on? How you?
Good. Sorry I'm late.
Nah, you good, sweetie. We're in the middle of the AAT report.
Okay.
And we're talking about health and wealth. So we went over pomelo, and pomelo is like your ancestor of the grapefruit
Yep.
and the health benefits of that. And now we're talking about this right here. That good old melanin. Yeah,
Yes.
man. And we're talking about how it was a fiction back in the 60s and the 70s when Power Man came. I'm sorry, wrong one. Power Man came out of the comic books with this power in his skin. He couldn't be killed. His skin was impenetrable. The only thing
Right.
that could kill him was old age. That's it. You can knock him out or whatever you think you can do. And then of course it was reinvigorated or reinvented with the TV show that broke the internet back in the day, a couple of years ago, the Power Man series that was cut way too short. And they even showed him, and they showed how it was a natural ability for him, and it came out of some sort of like crazy. Not that it was it came out of the experiment, but it was brought forth, like it was triggered when those people were experimenting on him in prison. And now we're talking about a product. We just showed a video called Super Melanin. Ain't that interesting?
Yes.
So we're talking about life imitating art, art imitating life, right? So here we have Northwestern University has come up with this product called Super Melanin, and it heals the skin of ailments, sunburns, even chemical burns. So this is really big for people who are like burned in fires, and I said I have like AIDS pox and all sorts of skin ailments. You know how our skin is like it's like a roadmap to what's going on in our body. You know what I mean? So if you're healthy in the body, then your skin is going to be vibrant. It's going to be glowing. And if you got some ailments, then the skin is going to let you know that as well. What's your thoughts on this super melanin and it being available during this great replacement, as they like to call it? I know that was a mouthful. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I got an emergency. I gotta log off. I'm sorry about that.
Now, do your thing. Just hit us up in the comments. All right, so we moving on. Hope Jazz could get back. So now what I'm hearing is that there's a synthetic melanin, right, of nanoparticles that is used for wound healing. I'll say that again. Synthetic melanin. So here you got one case of synthetic melanin here, and another case of synthetic melanin here that's being used as a nanoparticle for wound healing. Nanoparticle, yeah, like the multiverse, like how in the Marvel films they was traveling through the multiverse as nanoparticles. That thing. Yeah, man. Now this can heal wounds inside the body. So I brought all of this up to tap into this right here, right? What did our ancestors know about, and what were they able to harness within the power of melanin? Did they know this? And were they using it in a real, like, alchemaic way or scientific way that could transform things? Or were they just so dope with it that it was every day using it that way? It was every day for them. It was just like, whatever, I'm gonna use melanin like this because I'm just nice with it. It's all over the place, it's plentiful, and we just gonna rock out. And let me know if you thought during the Black Panther, when homeboy put on a suit and you saw all of the veins with the purple go all through the suit and through the body. Tell me you ain't think of melanin when that came on. Yeah, man. Those are some really pivotal questions. Let's have a higher discussion about it. Put it in the chat what you think. And the last thing I want to get to is this melanin experimented thing. Here we go again with the quantum chemistry. So here you have melanin as nanoparticles for wound healing. And now you got quantum chemistry protects against age-related macular regeneration. And they're talking about that specifically within the eye, right? And they're saying that they experimented on a bunch of mice, lab mice, right? And the mice had this like disease in their eyes. And they treated them with this melanin-related engineering that they put together. And then over a couple of weeks, the melanin cleared the diseases in their eyes. And those mice were able to see all over again. And then they tried it on a couple of human beings that agreed to be in that situation. And it worked. So now you're seeing the greater, or I should say the more macro universities, as it were, Northwestern, Yale, talking about the power of melanin. If you know of any ways to tap into the power of melanin, let me know, man. Jump into the show. You know what I'm saying? Let us know what you do. Let us know what you've experienced. You know, some people call it speaking in tongues. I might be getting too deep with that one, right? So let us know what you think. Put it in the chat. That was our AAT report, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wiser for a brand new you. All Aero Aqua Terra, all things under the air, water, and land, we will cover to make you healthier and give you more cell power. So now we're going to get right into Power to the People news. Wait, what just happened? This just happened. I have a clip I want to show you guys, and I call this Straw Man Blues. We know what a straw man is, right? It's a legal fiction that they try to hold folks to once you go into a court of law. They try to arrest you or charge you or indict you under these pretenses. And it's a logical fallacy, right? And they try to impose a logical fallacy on folks if you don't claim your rightful designation, nationality, and sojourns. So let's talk about it. I'm going to put this video on, and I hope you guys get something out of it because it's a little deep, But we don't pull punches here on the Real HD Show. We just give it to you. We give it to you straight. So let me get it on here and check this out. It's about 2 minutes. You're going to want to hear this. This is about a UCC filing with USA America Inc. out of Delaware. Check this out. Real HD Show.
More interesting tidbits about the United States. What I'm going to show you now is what a UCC filing statement is. And you can get this from credibly.com. UCC filing is a document that a lender files with the government when they have secured a loan or financing with one of your business assets. A UCC filing or Uniform Commercial Code filing might be issued if you take out an equipment loan or commercial mortgage. UCC filings can be removed from a business's record once a loan or debt is repaid in full. When a small business owner is approved for secured financing, the lender or creditor files a UCC-1 statement with the state to publicly indicate their right to repossess or reclaim certain business assets in case of default. Well, why is this important? Because if you look at this document here, this is the Federal Reserve System UCC lien dated 2011. You see that the sender or acknowledgement to the U.S. Department of Defense, the USA Department of Homeland Security, the Clerk Hall of Justice, and you see that the address is 191 North 1st Street in San Jose, California. Now let's go down. Who's the organization? The Federal Reserve System. They're located 20th Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. If you remember from a previous video, we said that the United States of America is located in Washington, D.C. Here's the amount. $14 trillion to the E Pluribus Unum, United States. That is the name of the organization, 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. If you look that up, you'll see that that is the Treasury Department. Going down, we look to see here what is the financing statement. This is of legal tender, and we see that this is as all real men with hands and legs in all real land in the United States, $14 trillion. With trust in God, this real estate is with the public. So, who are the people that are actually being secured? As all real men with hands and legs in all real land in the United States. That is what is used to secure this $14 trillion UCC filing statement.
Wow. We got to talk, people. You know, you go and you will go to 125th Street in Manhattan, or you'll go to, you'll meet in like a Black Studies group, and these sorts of iterations will come up, and nobody will really have the proof or the evidence. They'll just be building on it. They'll be ruminating about it. They'll be critiquing it. But here you have it wholeheartedly. And do you see the language that was used? The language that was used was all men's with hands and legs and property are secured under this particular UCC filing. So that would then go back to what is a birth certificate, and what is a birth certificate worth, and why all of a sudden in the 1920s and 1930s did they make babies being born after the 30s make the parents file and create a birth certificate. And then, of course, the rumination was that the value or the commodity of that human being was made as soon as you filed that birth certificate. You became a straw man. So I think that's incredibly interesting. I think that's incredibly telling. And I think that, we need to take advantage of this information. And, you know, you can go check this out. 4.3 quadrillion lien taken against US land, real estate, and people. And people under this UCC filing statement. I mean, you see it here. That was one on um the video said it was one on in 2011, and now you're looking at one in 2017. So you guys can go and follow this trail, follow the, follow, state the facts, name the names, follow the money. Let us know how you feel about that. I think that is incredibly damning, and it presents all kinds of problems. And in a lot of ways, um, it is a sneaky way of reverting uh, independence within the country. It's a sneaky, covert way of reverting um, slavery, and it's a sneaky, covert way of um, it has so many damage. I could spend 2 hours just talking about this. And if you want more information, please go on YouTube. There are plenty of videos. I talk about straw man politics, straw man arguments, and straw man theories. But one of the more serious ones is this one that I just showed you right here, right now on the Real HD show. Um, so all men with arms, hands, and legs, and property are secured within American borders, according to this filing, right? And you know that UCC is the descendant of maritime and admiralty law. It's just the newer versions of what that is, right? So it's like debtor, creditor, secure, property, almost in the same vein of what would you sign as collateral for a loan if you went into a bank. And now these people have signed away the American public, the USA public, to secure this $14 quadrillion loan from foreign interests. One of the foreign interests is the Treasury of the United States. Another foreign interest is the IRS Corporation, USA Inc. as a corporation. And of course, they're all registered in Delaware under Delaware's proprietal numbers as a corporation or a holder of corporations. Let us know what you think of this, man. This is and of course, as we move into um, central banking digital currency, how do we feel this will intervene with that? How do we think this will intertwine with credit and central banking digital currency as we move away from the dollar and the dollar gets suspended and we move into a total credit digital based economy, as it were? Um, Powerful subject. I think it's worth a higher discussion. All right. So we're going to move on and we're going to jump into a couple of different things. Let me see what we can do. I have so much to get into. Um, okay, so let's get into this right here. Power to the people news. Wait, what happened? This happened. Okay. Um, 215 bodies buried behind Jackson, Mississippi jails. And a lot of attention is being brought to this, um, especially after um, Parchment Prison back in I believe it was either 2018 or 2019, was sued by Yo Gotti and Jay-Z for harmful um, treatment and cruel and unusual punishment to the prisoners that were there. And it brought all this international attention to Mississippi jails that were unsanitized, that were, that had conditions that would kill the inmates, and now we're finding that just like Israel, you're finding that 215 bodies are buried behind Jackson, Mississippi jail. And I think that's incredulous. I think that's horrific. I think somebody needs to go upside that jaw. Um, whatever way you think this deserves justice, put it in the chat. It deserves a lot of justice. And this is not something that is I don't think it's something that's race related. I just think it's a commodity based action. Is it devilish? Absolutely. But I do think they treat those inmates like commodities based on the work they could do for them or not do for them. And if they're not, if they die or if they are not worth their salt, they find ways to get rid of them and they bury them behind these jails and in Jackson. And I think that's crazy, especially for folks who are religious. And in jail, a lot of people find religion. A lot of people find Islam, Christianity, Taoism, Buddhism. They find a lot of ways to censor themselves through religion or quote unquote spirituality. So, how are you able to bury these people? Isn't this a violation of their religious constitution that this country swears that it upholds? I think so. Um, and, Martin Luther King went to Jackson back in the 40s or 50s, I'm sorry, 52. According to the article that we did on the show, Martin Luther King went to Jackson, Mississippi, and he said that after he was done with his exploits with the civil rights movement, he was going to make Jackson, Mississippi a focus of his liberation efforts. Because here was a place in the United States that resembled a third world country for how bad it was, how horrible it looked, how horrible the services were, how horrible the society was. And these brothers and sisters in Jackson, Mississippi, that were predominant there were taxpayers and decent people and churchgoers and people that deserve respect and deserved attention and deserved for people to be treated with dignity. And now these people can't even be buried under the constitution of whatever their spirituality is because these Bamas were devilish, is what I call it, and buried their bones behind these jails. Now we gotta go back to the Israeli piece that we did when we found out that the Israelis make their prisoners, who are a lot of Palestinians, right? They make them serve out the jail sentence even in death. So they could be decomposing, rotten, be a bag of bones, but they will make those people stay in jail and not respect their religious constitution, make them stay in jail and serve out the length of their sentence. So imagine if one of them got served 4 life sentences. You telling me them bones are going to stay in jail for 4 life terms? Really? Crazy. But we got a comment, so let's put the comment up. Hey. Okay, here we go. Godspeed said a lot of this goes back to when physical slavery was abolished. And I say so-called abolishment because the 13th Amendment not only was the article that they used to represent abolishment of so-called slavery, but in fact, it moved people from physical slavery as far as chains and systematic slavery, which opened up a bigger umbrella to cover more people than just melanated folk. At that point, people of all hues, complexion, and colors became systematic slaves. Bong bong. And let's see, is there another comment? Okay, no, there's not. Okay. Hey, let me put that up, man. I love that comment, and I think you hit a lot of points that are awesome. And we're gonna talk about them right now. So let's get that comment back up and let's put it back out there. All right. So yeah. You know what? It's interesting you mentioned that, right? That 215 slaves found in the Mississippi prison, buried. Do they really believe, or is this in fact them acting out the adage that you are a 13th Amendment slave? So once you enter the penal system, you're a 13th Amendment slave, and we can do with you what we want to do with you. And is this proof of the 13th Amendment policy that everyone has ruminated about for so long, but nobody could ever prove? Very great comment, Godspeed. I appreciate it, bro. That was hot. But let us know in the chat too, man. Don't let Godspeed gobble up the camera time. What do you guys think? Peace, Jazz. Everything good?
Yes, we're good.
All right, cool. So we were looking at the 215 people that were buried behind the Mississippi jails. You hip to this story?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what do you think of that? And then Godspeed put a bug in our ear that I think we should jump down that rabbit hole. But you let us know what you think about the story of the 215 bodies.
I mean, with Mississippi being the last state to abolish slavery and one of the original states that initially, I believe, started it, right? If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember. Don't quote me. But it seems like a lot of the figures that are in Mississippi is kind of like that narrative where, the slave master, if they were to kill a slave, it wasn't a crime because it was their property. They were state property. So it's kind of like an adaptation to that in present time, it seems like, because they feel like human beings that are incarcerated are state property, and it seems like they can feel entitled to do whatever they want with them, and they should not be penalized for it.
Now, Godspeed put a quote up. I'm not going to reread it because I almost read it twice, but he talked about the 13th Amendment, the clause in the 13th Amendment about once you are, locked
Right.
up, you become a 13th Amendment slave to the penal system.
You are.
Now, this has been something that has been ruminated for decades in many, many ways by many people. And it's almost like an urban legend. Nobody really knows if the American government really acts on stuff like this. So could this be proof that the government is, in fact, acting on this 13th Amendment systematic penal slavery?
Absolutely. So it goes all the way back to the 1800s. Our law system was created to enslave the minorities because it was on a documentary that I had watched called "The House I Live In" by Eugene Jarecki, and I highly recommend people to watch it.
What's it called?
It's called "The House I Live In" or "The House We Live In" by
The
Eugene.
House I Live In. And
Yep.
where can people
They
get it?
They can find it it was on Netflix, so I don't know if it's on Netflix still or not, but YouTube it. It's available. You could purchase it too, but it's by Eugene Jarecki, and he's a Jewish man, but he was raised by a black woman in his home because his parents were well off and rich, and he had they had a nanny, and the help was known to take care of the children and things like that. So he did a documentary on the government system and how our laws were derived from slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the 1800s, you had people coming in on the Atlantic slave trade. I mean, and coming from all different places like China,
Right.
Africa, etc. And what happened was, as people were coming over from, the Eastern countries, or they were taking jobs away from the white men,
Mm-hmm.
and they were willing to do more work for longer periods of time for lesser pay. And so, because more and more of the population was getting convoluted with foreigners, and slavery had been abolished in 1865, allegedly, um, they said, well, we can't enslave you because you're black or because you're Spanish or Asian or what have you, but we can enslave you and lock you up if you commit a crime. And so in the 1800s, that's when the very first drug laws started to be curated. And so they started associating, and you had white people who did, back then, all types of drugs, but they had specific particulars that were more aligned and associated amongst the minorities than so the white people. So, for instance, opioids was a thing for the white people. So, if you snort something versus smoking it, because a black person may smoke something versus snorting it, I'm gonna lock you up.
Mm. Okay.
And that was their loophole to begin the caveat for slavery to continue under the quote unquote criminal law system.
Dope. Dope. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Fire. Um,
Definitely recommend people to watch that though if you get time.
yeah, go check that out. That might be the series of the night. The House I Live In. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna check that out myself. I haven't even seen that. I remember Will Smith was working on a series about 13th Amendment slavery, and I don't know if it ever came out or it was
That
short
was more
lived.
or less of the 14th Amendment.
14th Amendment. Okay.
Yep, and that's also on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
That was about the being created equal.
Yeah. There's vestiges of all of that penal slavery littered throughout the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. So if you dig deeper into each of those, like if you actually get the book or get the actual laws and read them in its entirety, you'll see all of that stuff littered all throughout it. So I appreciate it. So you get into a couple things, Jazz, that I want to touch on because in 1808, Thomas Jefferson um ended or he participated in ending, put it on the books that there'll be no more um transatlantic slave trade. So then
Mhm.
what they started to do is they started the breeding system
Mhm.
in the United States.
Mhm.
And especially places like Texas, you had a leap like maybe it was like 20,000 people that were enslaved in Texas at the time. And
Mhm.
then by the time Texas freed their um became a free state or abolished slavery in their state, you had over 100,000 slaves in Texas.
Mhm.
Isn't that something? And
That's
then
crazy.
what you were talking about reminded me of the movie Life.
Mhm.
Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy, how they would use any reason under the sun to lock you up. I mean, kind of like how they do now. But
Mhm.
back then I imagine it was worse. Back then
Mhm.
I imagine they really wanted to take advantage of that 13th Amendment loophole. And they would find, oh, did you kick dirt on this lovely white woman's shoe? Going to jail, buddy. You know. And then they trumped up some charge, and now you had to spend a stint in jail. And then, of course, they worked you through some sort of contractual system to make you work off your time while you were in prison. Work off your time while you were in prison, man. So let's stay with that. Let's stay in that same Mississippi line because there's more devilishment going on with Mississippi. So you know about this water crisis, right, y'all?
Mhm.
That's going on in Mississippi.
The water crisis? No, I don't.
Yeah. So in 2022, there was some you know some natural disasters, and it impacted the mechanics of the water system in Mississippi, and it led to all of this bad water being, being a part of by being part of the sewage in the water system. And now, as of last year, there was high levels of E. coli in the
Mm.
water. So much so that the WHO and different organizations like that put out these health warnings to, okay, Eugene Jarecki, cool, peace, I appreciate that. And they put out these health warnings. I'm trying to find the post up. Okay, here we go. Devils in the water. Racism in the water. Jackson, Mississippi lifts E. coli advisory as water struggles persist in major black capital. Public health official in Jackson, Mississippi has lifted a boil water advisory warning since tests came back positive for E. coli a week ago, marking the latest setback in continuing saga for mismanagement in the majority black capital. Now, if you looked at the beginning of this segment, you heard me say that Martin Luther King back in 52 visited Jackson, Mississippi, and saw how horrible and rundown it was and how it wasn't fit for human living. And said after he is done with his work with civil rights, he's coming back and he's going to make Jackson, Mississippi the poster child for reform in America, for melanated reform in America, because it was so bad. And of course, because of his experience while he was there. So, and one of the things that he talked about was the water. So we talking about from 52
to now 2024.
You talk about 2018. I mean, 2018 with the water system, and now 2024. These people are telling you it's okay to not boil your water no more, to not make sure your water is clean when you use it. Who are you listening to?
Not them.
You gonna stop boiling your water? You gonna stop purifying your water? Because they said
No,
it's
I'm
all
not
good.
listening to them. I'm about to keep boiling my water. I
Right.
keep
Like,
boiling my water, even if it's, man, listen, I still boil my water till this day.
you would be boo-boo the fool. And I think it's downright devilish to tell people when they know that they can't quantify and really certify what they're telling people to do.
But it
You
ain't
got,
no
you got,
different than what happened in Flint.
yeah, yeah. That's the exact thing I was talking about my wife with. Yep, yep.
It
The
ain't no different
very,
than Flint. And
yep.
then, but I think the problem is that because Mississippi is one of the more predominant conservative and, you know, slavery associated states and Confederate
Mm-hmm.
states, I think it's hard. It's gonna be harder to hold the state, the county, all of them accountable,
Right,
because there's, you know what I'm saying, they still have some of those old Jim Crow ways.
right,
And as to where in Flint, when the further north you go, the more libertarian, well, that's the perception anyway, but they exist everywhere. And so
yeah.
I think that ultimately is dependent on the people. And fear is always going to be the common conglomerate across any kind of
Mm. Interesting. You put it that way. Okay, I like it. Keep going.
when it comes to standing up against your oppressor.
Mm. You said fear is a conglomerate. Whoa. Okay, I feel you on that. That's an interesting way to put that. Um, I hear you. So let's stick and stay on that. Are you hip to the story here? So it's on the same level of graves,
Mhm.
right? So we talked about the 215 graves in Mississippi. Now we're talking about Georgia. An absolute nightmare. Father devastated after discovering his deceased child's remains were
Mhm.
missing from a
Mhm.
Georgia burial site. A grieving father says he feels like he got a scar ripped open after he learned that a Georgia burial site could not find his deceased daughter's remains. Um, His daughter rests at Hillcrest Memorial Park in Augusta. 6-month-old died in her sleep in 2001. Hickman was stationed at the time in the
In
Army.
Germany. Yeah.
Crazy, man. And now we just read this stuff about what they're trying to use melanin for, right? They're using melanin for what? Synthetic melanin for wound healing
Yeah.
and super melanin to heal burns and wounds and chemical burns.
Right. So
Come on now.
it's kind of part of the bigger picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we feed into these narratives that we have to follow along
Mm-hmm.
the, what society says are cultural norms for us, right? But if you really think about it back in the day, even during like, you know, in the 50s and 60s, like when they started the redlining, they didn't want us to own property, right? They made it very difficult for us to own land. And that's because that was generational wealth. What a lot of people don't understand and don't know is that your land is not your land. And the government can come in at any time and can uproot you or your family if it's in the best interest of the government, um, and take your land from you. They do it all the time,
Ooh. Say
right?
more, say more. Go deeper, go deeper.
So back in sharecropping slavery days, the slave owner, whenever they killed a slave, they buried them on the grounds, right? And when did cemeteries really become a thing? Think about it. Cemeteries were never a thing until um black people started owning land at a more higher and predominant rate.
Mm.
And that's because if you had a cemetery and operating a cemetery that's usually by white people, you bury people on that land. You don't got to pay taxes on that land. You just got to pay for your plot.
Mm.
But
Right.
if you bury your grandfather or your grandmama or your auntie or your uncle in your backyard, it's not considered a cemetery. And guess what? You ain't got to pay property taxes.
Mm. Mm.
And that's
So
even
tell,
still to
I
this
know what you're
day.
speaking. I know exactly what you're speaking on, but tell the people, do you know the term that's called? If you do, please educate the people.
Uh, I don't, I don't, I don't. It's it's not it's not there in my brain just yet. um,
Take your time.
I don't know the term. I'm familiar with the process of it and how they avoid and um abstain from paying property taxes and are also contributing to us being um at the bottom of the totem pole per se when it comes to money and property and generational wealth and all of that. And
Word.
ultimately they even make it, they have this thing here in America called an allodial title. And they had it all the
Yes.
way back to
I thought that's where you were going with that, but I wanted to let you go ahead. Go ahead. I knew exactly what you were talking about, but I said I'm gonna let sis cook. So go ahead, cook.
Yeah, so and what people don't know is that with an allodial title, even God himself can't come and touch your land. Not the government, not nobody. But this isn't something that is thoroughly, put out there and educating people on. And it is hella hard to get an allodial title in the United States.
Yes. Yes.
Damn
Yes.
near impossible.
Yes. But that's the final frontier of ownership. So what Jazz is talking about, thank you, sweetheart, for bringing that up. That was so dope. The way you merged the two. Um, it naturalizes you to the land.
Mm-hmm.
The same way if you were born here, if you die here and your remains are here, it naturalizes you to the land. And
Mm-hmm.
if they are quote unquote God fearing,
Mm-hmm.
then God is the supreme law,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't supersede God in with land or anything else. It
Mm-mm.
is what it is. Now here is a nuance as we jettison into 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Allodial is dope, but what happens when them people on Epstein Island don't believe in God?
Mm.
Yeah, I want to talk about it some more, but we got a comment. Let me throw it up. If Godspeed says, if what a person is doing socially or in business wise threatens U.S. interests, they can come and take a person's land, like
Yep.
they did Dr. York in Atlanta. Actual facts.
But what they don't understand is that they bury their ancestors or anybody in their land is considered a cemetery, and they no longer have rights to that land. And that's what I want people to learn to understand.
Yeah, y'all
And
both are right. Actually,
and
and then
so that's
that goes back to my Vanguard conversation.
right.
Because if you got these people and they're Freemason or they're whatever the network name it is that they're using currently, because it's all kind of foo-foo names running around here for all
Mm-hmm.
these groups. Um, whatever they are, whatever their understanding is of the moment,
Mm-hmm.
have a perverted or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
they have the military and police behind their wishes and their authority.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't, or we don't have a standing militia that's willing to challenge
Mm-hmm.
that, how do we defend those things which is rightfully ours?
Mm-hmm.
I have that conversation with my people all the time. That's the frontier right there for us in the next couple of years. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
just read a story today where the police, it was autistic kid, and he was retarded and autistic,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a girl actually,
Mm-hmm.
and they what do they call that? They curb stomped her. Ain't that crazy?
That's insane.
And they killed her. And they killed her. And now, of course, everybody wants to get involved. Reverend Sharpton and all of the blah 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 blah. All the people,
Mm-hmm.
all the names, all the usual suspects, right? They want to get
Mm-hmm.
involved and they want to have press conferences and whatever, whatever, whatever. But what is the justice for what is the real natural justice for the cop who curb stomped this young lady, this young
There's
girl?
no the problem I have is that we keep having these stories over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And no
Mm-hmm.
amount of money is gonna rectify the killing of our people, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's money we are already organically and divinely entitled to, period, to begin with.
Right.
So why should we have to suffer and sacrifice at the hand of our oppressor in order to be able to be compensated when we've suffered and we're still suffering till this day? You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
ultimately what the problem is that these people in power, they benefit from the systems that are in place because they rub elbows with these white politicians,
Right.
and they're getting their pockets lined with money. Because in our reality, there's no true, and this also goes to the makeup of our the system and the government. You know what I mean? And right now I'm reading and doing research into like the IRS and taxes and things like that, because there's a woman by the name of Sherry Jackson, who was incarcerated because of the fact that she was a whistleblower, because she was formerly employed by the IRS. She's a black woman, and she resigned in 1995. And she did research and investigated and found there was no true penal code that stated that as a U.S. American that you were required to pay taxes.
Yes. Yes. We getting deep tonight. We getting deep tonight. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go.
And
There's
so,
also, hold on, there's also a uniform commercial code that
right,
says that the
UCC.
public is not, because of the maritime law and
Hmm.
admiralty law. There's
Hmm.
another code, uniform commercial code from back in the day that
Hmm.
says, I believe it's 1919.
Hmm.
right before the Great Depression that
Yep.
says that Americans are not, or U.S. citizens, quote unquote,
Hmm.
are not are exempt from debt
Right.
because of the Uniform Commercial Code filing that I just showed.
Hmm.
Right, all people with hands and legs and arms and feet are secured property.
Hmm.
Right, I just showed a video on that. Straw man blues. You know what I mean? They trying to, this is the way they turn us into a straw man fiction. Right. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And there is a IRS code that exempts people from not actually having to pay taxes. I know I know where you're going. I'm gonna show this. Matter of fact, I got that next show. I got you on that next show.
Okay.
We on it. We on it. We on it. Well, it's 20 after the hour. So we're
Hmm.
gonna get right into our red pill, blue pill. Here we go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Dope.
Yeah, that's the Matrix joint, right? Metu, Neter, Mother, Nature, Matter, Matrix, right? So, really dope scene. It's about two roads diverged by a yellow wood. Robert Frost, that whole piece. So
Hmm.
we take this time of the show to ask our guests. So our guests right now, I hope we still got Godspeed on. But I'm gonna ask Jazz, you want the red pill or the blue pill? Where should we go with the rest of the show? We're gonna have one more big topic of the show, and then we're gonna kind of shut it down. But you get the visit, you get the rights to choose what that is. So you red
Oh,
pill or you blue pill?
I'm red pill always. I'm
Always.
always.
Jazzy always want to get deep, so let's get deep. All right, so let me find. I have so many. I guess I'll save this one for Wednesday.
Oh God, please don't. Not today. Not today. I
I'll
had enough
save
for
that
Meg.
one for
I had
Wednesday.
enough for Meg Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj, and now
Yo,
I'm done. I can't today. I
listen,
can't.
listen. Here's a tease. Homegirl got her booty ate out at her baby shower.
I already know. I know. I'm all set. No, thank you. I don't even want to talk about that right now.
Yo, what planet they do that?
No comment, bruh.
What
No
planet they do
comment.
that
I
on?
plead the fifth.
That's out of freaking
That's uncouth to
control.
like the 100th power. Okay.
For sure, for sure.
That's like
So,
I'm all set.
so let's get into this red pill topic. Okay. We have Texas Civil War. That's on deck.
Mm-hmm.
We got WEF goals after the Davos conference. Or we have Gen Z identifies as LGBTQ or Republican. They don't even acknowledge Democrats anymore. What would you like to dive into?
What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't really get into politics because I'm in between. I'm in the middle. I got
All
some
right.
conservative views and I got some Democratic views. So I mean, it's I'm down either that or Texas Civil War. Those are the two I'm going for.
All right. Well, let's jump into Texas Civil War.
Thank you.
So it says GOP governors have already sent troops to Texas amid Civil War fears. So let me back up. Let me give a little context to this.
Is this
And
about protecting the border?
protecting the border. So Texas declares the right to self-defense and supersedes federal statutes as the governor of Texas battles Biden over razor wire at the border. 25 other states, GOP states, have sent federal troops to Texas, along with convoys of vehicles, armored vehicles, ex-military, all the stuff. They all going down to the border right now, and they're getting ready to set up shop to try to make an offensive on what the federal government wants to use when they bring the National Guard down there to get Greg Abbott and curtail his means of curtailing the border crisis. Does this mean civil war? What do you think?
Honestly, I'm with the state. I'm all for protecting the border and him protecting his people and interests when it comes to Texas. Because when it comes to the federal government, they just throwing people wherever they see fit, but they don't see the impact on the lower levels and how to maintain this. Right now we have overpopulation in New York, overpopulation in New Jersey from all the migrants that they brought over, and you got them homeless, sleeping on the floor, outside, sleeping in tents, sleeping in people's trucks that they use for work because they're being put up in hotels and they can't even cook in there, and so they prefer to be homeless versus being housed. Like, it's ridiculous. And then, not to mention, all of the United States, all of the state resources that we receive from the federal government are being poured out to these, people who are coming into the United States and are allegedly seeking asylum, but they're getting access to food stamps, Medicaid, and don't pay into our system. But yet here, you have U.S. citizens that can't even put food on the table, maintain rent, a home over their head, and they can't get no assistance from the federal government or the state government. Make it make sense. So I'm all for Texas doing what they have to do to protect their borders and to protect you know, the betterment of their people in that state, especially because Texas relies only primarily on federal funding. They don't have state tax in Texas.
Right. That part.
So honestly, I'm all for what they're doing right now.
Okay, we got a comment. Let's see what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. No problem, Godspeed. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for jumping on and commenting. Yo, you a great part of the show. Always welcome, man. Do your thing. Have a great one. We'll talk in a bit, bro. That's my homie from back in the day.
Dope.
That's my brother actually, and he's always supportive.
Respect.
But so we're talking about whether or not this will turn into a Texas civil war. So now you got states, National Guard from all over the Confederate landscape coming to Texas to stand long and stand strong against the federal government troops. Is this the beginning of a civil war? And everything you said is actually on point. I want to get into a little bit of the dangers of what's going on because I believe they're trying to
it's like an anomaly.
Right. I told my wife that this is they talked about the great replacement theory in terms of them and not having babies, and they were so fearful of that. But when you're flooding the country with millions and millions of people over a 4-year period, you're actually going to intersect and replace the people who are here in jobs and lifestyle and community and all of those sorts of things. Not to mention, and you could let me know how you feel about this, prostitution is running rampant around the country. Chicago, Brooklyn, Maryland, Florida, Texas. And then so the dudes go out during the day and they try to get as much work as they can. And then homegirls come out at night looking like a whole rap video.
Yeah.
And now you dealing with that.
That's one of the oldest forms of, that's the oldest profession known to man. The oldest, the most ancient. And think about it, it's sex trafficking in its oldest fashion. And what is it again? It's basically slavery.
But I have a 26-year-old son, just turned 26.
Uh-huh.
Love you like cook food, bro. And then I have a 22-year-old son. I don't
Hmm.
want them going into New York City visiting my sister and them getting caught up in something because something look good like something.
Respect. I have a 19-year-old.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know, I get it.
Right. And you don't want the girls to be corruptible that way either.
Right.
So which side of the meter do we fall on, melanated people? Do we want these folks in here that are going to open and they're also in the police force now? In Chicago, they opened up the doors for immigrant people to become part of the police force. California, different places like that actually have these people training to be police officers.
Because I think the migrants and the immigrants don't understand the origination of it when it comes to
I
our
know
country.
they don't. I know they don't.
And I
I'm just
think that's
talking
more
about
reason. And then if they entice them with the opportunity and with the salary and the American dream of the career, the house, the kids,
right.
etc. And this is something that they may not necessarily have been able to obtain in their home country, they can be like, well, this is my chance. And so because we don't want to become the police, they're going to entice these foreigners to come in and do what they need to do. And they're more bound to be loyal to the government because the government provided them the opportunity to acquire these things based off of them being able. So they'll do whatever it takes to maintain that status quo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just the system. I'm ready to leave. You ready to go yet?
I heard that from so many sisters. They like, yo, I'm ready to get up out of here, man.
I'm ready to go to Ghana. Listen, the African diaspora, it's like, yo, look, I'm ready to go. My cousin Shadia and her husband, they just built them a beautiful, beautiful home in Nigeria. And they go
Oh,
back
okay.
6 months at a time. I'm ready to get
Okay.
some dual citizenship. What's up? And did you know that when you get dual citizenship, you're not required to pay taxes either in the United States? Just saying.
Yeah, we got to look. I'll look that up. I'll definitely look that up because I heard in certain other places you have to pay taxes. Like if you're a
If
European citizen and they definitely got some hot spots down in Mexico. If you want to become an expat, I did a
yeah.
couple of joints on expats. It's really interesting.
Well,
It's
if you're
really,
there, 6 months at a time or more.
yeah, you got to be
Yeah.
really careful though, because all of the extradition treaties between the United States and that land that you want to go, move to,
They don't have extraditions out in Africa.
it might not be right and exact. So you might be it might be a
Catch me
loss
in Brazil,
in a lot
then
of different ways.
I'll go to Brazil or Cuba.
Hey, sign me up for that, Brazil. Sign me up.
I'll go to Brazil or I'll go to
Sign me up
Cuba.
for that, Brazil. Sign
I'm
me
out.
up for that Sao Paulo. Let's
That
go.
part. I mean, it's all
Let's
ours
go.
anyway. It's all part of
Let's
the
go.
African diaspora anyway, so you might as well.
Let's go. I'm ready for it. Did you see is it called Kingdom of Heaven? Did you see that joint?
No, I have to check it out.
Yeah, it's like a recently made movie about the uprising of the drug culture in Brazil. And it's all melanated film. It's dope.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check
It's
it out because
yeah, check that
another
out. It's
place I've been
really
looking at, because I've also been looking at Sicily and Milan, Italy.
yeah, they got some dope places in Italy. That area of the world, the Iberian Peninsula, and they also have some dope areas in Portugal as well.
Yeah.
Alameda and
Yep.
a bunch of places.
Did
So
you hear about them in Italy? How they they are not allowing artificial food in Italy at all. I gotta send you the video.
Yeah, Mexico is doing the very same thing. They won't buy American produce or American
Yep.
commodities to go into Mexico because they know it's all artificial and they don't want to. They're
Yo,
not having it.
man, we it's time to go, bro. It's time to go.
No
What
doubt,
are we
no doubt,
doing?
no doubt, no doubt. But what do you think, man? What do you think about this border crisis? Is it gonna? Do you think it's gonna blow up into a full blown war? Now you know these WEF people have been
They
trying
ain't
to.
scared.
They wait. I'm saying they've trying to create the calamity
Uh-huh.
and then provide you with the answer to it. You get
Uh
where I'm coming from? You get where I'm coming from with that? Cre-
no. Break it down for me.
Create the problem and
Hmm.
then provide the answer. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you guys are warring down there, and the federal government was part of the reason why you were warring, even though the
Hmm.
Constitution says that states' powers are equal to federal powers.
Hmm.
And when it comes to self-defense of a state, that's part of the supremacy clause.
True.
That's undeniable. You can't.
Right. Right.
Supreme Court, SCOTUS, nobody can. You
That's the
know,
end all be all.
yes, self-defense is an unalienable right.
Exactly.
And then SCOTUS is trying to tell Texas that they don't have the right to barbed wire the border.
That ain't true.
Well, that's what SCOTUS just ruled on. They just ruled on. I don't have the little caption. I would have put it up, but do you think this is going to jump off into a full-blown civil war and then give the powers that be, and they want to install all this CBDC stuff? They want to install all this social credit stuff. They want to
Nah.
install all this WEF stuff with the climate change demands. Is that the chaos that helps bridge all of that crap into existence? What do you think? And what do you guys think at home? Leave it in the chat.
I honestly think that the federal government gonna get sued. All these states are gonna band together and they're gonna go after them, especially because it's the Biden administration. And it's
Hmm.
gonna also, with Trump running, it's gonna change the trajectory of how the election may take place and what's gonna end up happening.
Hmm.
So I think ultimately it's not a good look
Right.
for the Democrats, especially because of how they handled all of these. It's basically a trickle effect, a domino effect. And
Hmm.
if they do this, they can be guaranteed to lose the autonomy that they currently have. No person will potentially vote Democrat anymore if they try to Trump and take over the states.
Yeah. Especially with this going on. I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm just gonna show it. Ain't that crazy?
It's ridiculous.
They don't even want to identify as being Democrat, but they'll identify as
Exactly.
the alphabet crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And America is morphing into some crazy stuff, man. And
Well, because at least with a Republican, you already know what and who they are.
yeah,
Ultimately, they don't hide that shit. Excuse my French.
yeah.
But with a Democrat, they a wolf in sheep's clothing.
And then if it does blow into a full blown civil war, Federalists are the Democrats right now, currently, and then or the Feds, right? And then of course the Republicans are, sending armed guards and sending
They ready.
reinforcements to the border. They ready. And then of course it takes a match to set off the fireworks. Does that then call to arms all men in the United States, melanated or otherwise? And are we prepared to sit this one out? Are we prepared to get in our boat and row to California, row to Canada, or row to Nova Scotia, or wherever is the, you know,
I'm gonna
safe
be
haven?
honest with you. This ain't got nothing to do with me. This ain't my fight.
No, but I'm saying if you are registered for selective service,
Mhm.
like so many people are,
Mhm.
and Biden said that women can be part of the draft now. He actually said that. Um,
I'm
does
not
this?
fighting for the federal government. You can put me in jail. Knock yourself out.
There you go. And what are the ramifications of that? Is this history repeating itself, or are melanated folk, black folk gonna
I'm
stand up
Muhammad Ali.
and be like, hell no? Now I'm saying, and be like, hell no, and then go to safe havens. Is
Hmm.
does the diaspora become more important once
Hmm.
all of that pops off?
This ain't our fight. Mind our business. I'm not fighting for no federal government because at the end of the day, they're not putting things in place to protect our people. If anything,
Boom.
if anything, they are the enemy.
Interesting. Interesting. But these are the but we're the party. We are the
Democrat or not, I don't
descendants
care about none
of
of
the
that.
Democratic Party.
But again, the Democratic Party has been tainted, and the predominant influence is at the exploitation of our people. They
I
pretend to
agree.
be our friends and smile in our face to gain our support, but they are the very culprits that continue to do more harm to our people, um, on with their manipulative tactics. Then so honestly, I respect the Republican more because they got the balls and the galls to do right in your face.
Oh, I agree totally. I was just saying that the other day. I was like, make my enemy clear and
That
present.
part.
Don't fool with me. Don't tell me you on my
Right.
side. Don't feed me Kool-Aid and fried chicken and
And
think
that
that,
and that was
you know,
very right. And that was very prevalent and apparent when Clinton was in office. When he entered the three strikes you're out, he enforced all those changes in legislation to be hard on crime and all of that nonsense. Man, you not for our people. You just want our support and our votes. And you gonna say what we
right?
want to hear, but you ain't doing shit to help us. And not for nothing, let's be real here. I'm gonna be honest, and people gonna be upset with me about this.
Nah, do it, lay it.
But
Lay
Trump
it go.
did more for black people in office, even with his antics and shenanigans, than Obama did altogether.
Ooh, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to jump down. I hear what you're saying. I definitely hear you.
Because
And maybe we'll
Obama
do
was the
that next
main
show.
person behind Gaddafi being assassinated.
Mm.
A lot of the dictators that didn't want to transition over and were trying to devalue the American dollar were assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
They need to read. Obama is just like our the Rochester City of Rochester mayor, a damn puppet.
Ooh. There was a lot of those Democratic presidents, man. They did a lot of dirt under the guise of being for black folk. I tell you that.
And that's why I don't trust him.
That Clinton that ate fried chicken and smoked weed and played watermelon. I mean, played the saxophone and ate watermelon. He and put his office in Harlem. He decimated the middle class of the country.
Pretty much.
And when I say decimated, he sent all the, oh, you rich? You want to protect your assets? You want to protect your tax dollars? Take it overseas. We give you permission.
Yep.
He ain't stopped none of them jokers, and it decimated the middle
The middle
class.
class. Yep.
And I don't care if you was white, black, or indifferent. He decimated
The middle
them
class.
when him and his cronies,
Mm-hmm.
drew that up. They wiped out the factory manufacturing sector of the country, whole lock, stock, and barrel.
Biden
Um,
has done nothing for our country and for our people since he's been in office.
right. I'm just saying that every other Democratic
Yep.
president has followed that lead, done a
Yep.
lot of dirt under the guise of being for black folk, for sure,
Pretty much.
for sure, for sure. I'm gonna play this video you gave me as we go out because we in overtime, so we're gonna leave it on a lighter note because I was cracking up when I saw this. And
Oh
this
man.
reminds me of the whole Nikki Haley thing too. I'm gonna put a picture of her up in a minute. But let's check this out. Real HT Show. Hair phonies. Check this out. Real HT Show.
Knowing this is Peach, gotta keep a carbon in my reach. Picking calamari out my teeth, babe. This is Peach, gotta keep a carbon in my reach. Pick a calamari out my teeth, babe. Why you putting forges on the G? I keep spilling coffee on my jean. I don't like these talking, I'm gon' speak, babe. You know I needed you, why would you leave? And keeping it real every day, it ain't easy. Cardigan swell, it come out next season. Deja Ray, would you just stay with me, please? I'm a blessed little woman like she sneezing. Scored a triple double for my niece. Said I just bought a rover for no reason. I'm on house arrest, I can't even leave. Locked up in the pen, but I ain't pee. The water dripping off me, Uncle Fina. Love my Uncle E, I Uncle Bean it. Love my Auntie Chris, that Auntie Nene. Blowing all this money cause it's free. Scamming in Miami by the beach. Telling on your homies that ain't see. Boy, I heard you ready for a cheat.
Yo, they love our style. They love
have
our style. They love our swag. They love
culture
us,
vultures.
man.
Culture
Yo, my man
vultures.
was getting what my daughter call it? 3C type hair or
Yep.
4C. He was getting the 4C special.
I'm like, yo, we can't have nothing. We can't have nothing.
Yo, my man was getting his sewing.
I was 38 high. I said, look at this now. I said, look at this bullshit here, boy.
Yo, my man got a Hawaiian silky put in.
I can't stand you. Not a Hawaiian silky. I can't stand you. I was 38 high. I said, yo, we can't have nothing.
Yo, that's wild. And then your girl, Nikki Haley, man, she on here. She here or she culture vulturing too. You know what I'm saying?
That part. Talking
You know what
about
I'm
she
saying?
white.
That remind me of Kamala Harris. Her mama did the same thing. We ain't Indian, we white.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? Careful who you vote for. They on both sides of the aisle.
That part. That part.
Video cracked me up. I said my man is getting the 4C special.
I couldn't. I was like, look at this bullshit.
He under the dryer to get his Hawaiian silky right.
Not the Hawaiian silky, yo. I cannot. Oh, next thing you know.
Yo, thanks for rocking with us, man. We gonna end it off on that note. This is the Higher Discussion. Join us Wednesday when we come back one more again with some more stuff for you. And another thing I want to let y'all know out there in the ethos as y'all listening to the show, me and Jazzy coming up with something fly for y'all. Look out for that. Sipping After Dark. It's in production. It's in production. We got something fly coming for y'all. Not the average relationship show. You know what I'm saying? Pull your shoes up. Tighten your laces. We coming for you. All right.
That part. Peace.
You know what I'm saying? We gonna get to it. We gonna get to it.
Indeed.
So everybody all over Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, IG, Mobcrush, D-Live, Trovo Nation, all over the place that watches the Real HD show. We want to say peace and walk with power. Jazzy, you got something as we want to take us out? You got anything you want to promote or push or tell the people about?
Yeah, we got the Black Power Market going on this week. CJI's coming through, and I got my financial literacy workshop popping up soon in the next couple weeks.
Dope.
More details to come. But
Please
yeah,
bring Maya to the show so we could promote it so the people know where to go.
Got you.
Appreciate it. All right, y'all. Y'all love on each other. Y'all walk with power, and we will see y'all on Hump Day. We are the Real HD Show. Peace, y'all.
Peace.